and it's 10 o'clock.
Friday, 10 o'clock tune in. It's showtime, EV Café News.
We are funner, and apparently it's a word. Official Sam Clark message this morning. Funner is a word.
Yeah, but I don't have to
What's the
like
proof?
it, do I?
No, you don't have to like it, and the less you like it, the more we love it. Welcome to the 10 with EV Café News. 30 minutes of what's happening in sustainable transport with expert analysis from my friends at the EV Café crew. Now then, do you fancy sponsoring the EV News? Do you? The EV Café News? Do you? It's the best programme on the planet. Call me or email hello@evcafe.org for more information. And today we are joined by the aforementioned Sam. Are you well, dear boy?
Very well, thank you. Yep.
Yeah? You've had a busy week. Parliament this week?
Yes, for the van plan with the Bureau Relay and EV Cafe, of course. With Mr. Kirby. I think you may have heard of him, and Johnny Berry. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good to rub shoulders with the ministers and talk about van related stuff, and also EHGV snuck in there too, because that's more interesting. But don't tell Paul.
Wouldn't say a word. You might have noticed Paul's not here, but the wonderful Sarah is. How's your week been?
It's been amazing. I didn't quite hit my usual 1,000 miles this week. And I'm in all day at home because I'm having an octopus smart meter fitted. So I'm like a caged animal.
Golly jeepers, tentacles everywhere. Speaking of tentacles, Paul, where is he? He's in
I don't know.
Belgium.
Oh.
Now, he's in Belgium, and the reason he's looking for the best breakfast chips, apparently. Weird, but true. I don't know what he's doing over there, but anyway, grab a cuppa and plug into what's happening in clean transport this week. And coming up, a warranty study reveals the most reliable used electric cars. Okay, so you've got to start talking about this. Which cars do you think are the least reliable there are? We'll be calling them out in a min. A new rule for all UK petrol stations about price. An interesting discussion point around that. And petrol costs hit 16 pence per mile as the UK drivers face a new tax landscape. We're quite fossil fuel focused this week. For a reason. This is pushback. It is our time. It is EV time. And we're going to just shine a light on the rubbish that is petrol and diesel. And anyway, the EU is backtracking on their 2035 petrol and diesel ban. And we've got to do something about this because it just can't happen. And as a bonus, I'm just going to throw in a little tidbit. China has banned hidden door handles on vehicles. So Tesla, man, you got a problem coming your way. Isn't that fascinating? Apparently it's something to do with not being able to get people out of vehicles and they don't know how to use the Tesla handles. Strange.
Okay.
I know, but there we are. Anyway, first, the EV Cafe commercial clap where we highlight innovation and new things in our industry.
The commercial clap from the EV Cafe.
Innovation applauded.
Right, and first up, we have Jet2. They have reached a major sustainability milestone at Newcastle Airport with all of its owned ground service equipment at the airport now operating on 100% electric power. The full transition at Newcastle Airport represents another step towards the company's ambition to achieve 99% reduction in emissions from its owned ground service equipment by 2035. Now then, if you ignore the planes, that's brilliant.
It is, John, and I don't understand why this hasn't happened sooner. They don't go very far. There's loads of long dwell time. Why hasn't this been mandated years ago at airports? Just saying.
Indeed.
There might be a good reason, but I don't know
Kind
what
of
it is.
was. I mean, lots of airports around the country have had to do it, and they've been doing it since about 2015. So I do agree it's been taking a very, very long time. I think a lot of it was about the fact that there's runways to build, and I feel like they needed to offset that. So wherever there's been development at an airport, that's usually where the acceleration of zero emission ground transport happens.
Great to see, but it does kind of ignore the big birds in the sky burning the fossil fuel. Anyway,
I know. Sticking plaster.
The UK's first supercharging train, running only on battery power, has come into service this weekend. Operating a 5-mile return route in West London, it's on the West Ealing to Greenford branch line. 4 stops, 12 minutes each way, and it now carries up to 273 passengers. And that's with Great Western Railway. Super job, like that, fast charge. Good effort. And Zaptec are urging fleet operators to act ahead of the 31st of March 2026 EV charging funding deadline. The scheme provides up to 75% support towards eligible purchase and installation costs for charging in depots and workplaces. Applications are completed online via the government portal and typically require confirmation of eligibility, installation plans, and the use of OZEV approved installer and hardware providers. Now then, get on with it. If you want to put electric charging into your depot, you have till the 31st of March. There is time, but you've got to get wiggling now. Sarah.
I got to tell you something. So yesterday I was with Zaptec all day, and they described this beautiful vision that they've got for themselves, because in Oslo they've just put in 770 Zaptec chargers across the airport parking wells, and they were talking about, remember when it all went wrong at Heathrow and Heathrow lost its power? What if they had 770 electric vehicles that gave permission to support the buildings and vital elements of the airport? How cool as a future would that be?
Absolutely. V2X, V2G, we're dealing with all that in our
Webinar coming up.
in March, and that should be really interesting. So yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about that. Final little bonus story. Fridge Express have delivered their first ever 18-ton refrigerated EHGV, and it's a retrofit to provide chilled food, and it's converted. So this is the important point. The vehicle's been supplied to Brindisa, a specialist provider of chilled Spanish food, and they're running from Grantham in Lincolnshire into London. Good news, like that. So if you've got an HGV, slap a battery in it. Job's a good one. See, it's easy when you know how. Anyway, onwards with the news, my people. And first up, new analysis of electric vehicle repairs across the UK has revealed the country's most reliable used electric car for 2025. What do you think it might be? Sam, any thoughts? You'll have looked at the script.
I mean, I just read the script, so I know the answer.
Oh no, that means I've got to know.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We're in the comments, what do you think? What is the most reliable EV on the roads, according to the survey? It's based on a sample of 1,000 real-world repair claims paid by Warranty Solutions Group on warranties issued in 2025. And there are huge differences across popular models. Here we go. Drum roll, please. The Nissan Leaf topped the reliability rankings with a low claim rate of just 1.52% and an average repair cost of £818. In second place was the Audi e-tron with a claim rate of 3.23% and one of the lowest average repair costs at £570. Rounding out the top 5 models were the Vauxhall Corsa Electric, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. But I have to say, the costs to repair a Ford Mustang Mach-E average £2,242. That is eye-watering. And the Tesla Model 3, 6% was in 5th place and £625. At the opposite end of the scale...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the least reliable. 2 of them I'm not surprised about. I'm really not surprised about. The Tesla Model S, which was 38.46 claim rate, and it is £1,160 to repair. The Model X, 23.5% claim rate, £591, and the Mercedes EQB, which comes in at 33%, £422. It's actually the cheapest to repair. All fascinating stuff. What's your experience? Do you find the Nissan Leaf the most reliable? And really, are the old Teslas the least reliable? I would have thought so, actually. I can see that. Old technology, been running around a little while. Sarah?
I have a question. So how did they, what were the mileages on these relative test vehicles? Because originally the Leaf's been around for a long time, generally quite a small battery, potentially not as many miles as others. Big Teslas, free charging everywhere you go with those old S's, they're doing well over 100,000 miles. And personally, I have only had to do one thing with a mechanic on my Tesla, and they came to my driveway to do it. And I've only had one set of tyres, and I've just tipped over 68,000 miles. So it's doing pretty well. Touch wood, touch everything.
That is one of the main reasons why you are here, Sarah. Your mind works in a way which is quite analytical and beautiful. It's
Oh,
like
thank
watching Rain Man. It really is. You are just awesome. Because, of course, the mileages will just be what the mileages are. And the warranty group have just chucked them all into a bucket and said, right, okay, let's have a look at the costs. Sam, your thoughts?
Yeah, as Sarah said, my Tesla experience is the same as hers, actually, although it's dangerous to take our individual examples and create a rule, of course. Having said that, breaking that up, my own rule, I've got a Nissan Leaf parked outside that runs perfectly, and it's got 140,000 miles on the clock. So that also suggests that Nissan Leaf's doing pretty well. But again, that's just an individual example. But yeah, no, it makes sense. And I'm not surprised that the S and the X Teslas have a few issues here and there. I mean, they were very, very early days. They haven't, they are the sort of origin really of EV mass production, aren't they? And I can understand with some of the very complex engineering that went into those to design things differently. The door handles in the S's, the doors on the X's, they were all very, very innovative and creative. And I can understand why that probably has caused quite a lot of pain. I'm a bit surprised about EQB though. Mercedes is normally pretty well put together. So it's quite a surprise that took a third of the share of most unreliable.
Well, Sarah's obviously got bored with your chat, so
Yeah,
do the
she's had
shout-outs. Right, let's do the shout-outs. And Steve Warts, he's back in his number one spot, 7:05 this morning. Good morning. And a soggy Friday. Good morning, my friend. Gary Comerford, congratulations on launching the Commercial EV Musings podcast this week. Good work. And he's a 9 out of 10 and deserves to be because he's quite wonderful. Stuart Humphrey, he's not here for a long time. Well, I hope you are, mate. Well, at least half an hour. But you are here for a funner time. Darn straight you are. Lovely to have you here and massive hugs. James Hobson, he's here from Screenwash King. Good to see you. Daryl Sharp. He's got a Skoda Enyaq Edition 85 and he's had it for a couple of weeks. So he's doing all right. Belinda Guy, she's in the house. She's done a little video for the Screenwash King. Isn't that fabulous? Welcome back, Sarah. Little shout out to you. So well done. Little bit of collaboration going on there. And that's lovely to see. James comes along to the EV Café, meets Belinda Guy. Belinda Guy does a video for him. This is how we roll. Oh, yes, indeedy. Now he's here. It's Jamie Fretwell. All 1,554 feet of him. He's essentially the Empire State Building, but less Godzilla-y. There we are.
Gets me every time. I know you're going to do it. I know it's going to be ridiculous, and I hope Jamie doesn't mind because it's really adorable.
Yeah, he was at the House of Parliament this week as well, John. I think I saw him change the Big Ben clock and just push it.
Okay.
Michael Barton, he's in Bristol. Good morning, Michael. Lovely to have you here. The man himself, DEV Chakravarti, is in the house. Oh no. Now, like you, my friend, we've been unwell this week. He's got coffee and a lemsip. I had man flu on Tuesday and was just utterly useless. Yes, still am. Ian Mayhew, lovely.
What's the relevance?
Knew it was coming, Sam, so I had to get there first.
Yeah,
You
good.
did,
I'm glad
you
you did.
Tracy Kearns, Borodar, to the wonderful Tracy. Lovely to see you here. And then it's my 11 o'clock call. I'm speaking to Peter Heath. He's got nice teeth. Lovely to have you here. He's working out if there's a place he can go at the weekend where it isn't raining. Yes,
No.
the Sahara Desert, my dear boy.
Yes. But don't fly. Naughty.
No, definitely not. Just walk.
No.
Paul Shearer Barnfather. Happy Friday, EVers. And Nick Gerald from Drax. He's in the house from a very grey Ipswich. Question for you,
Tough
Nick.
week.
Is Ipswich anything other than grey? Do tell me. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not suggesting anything. Merely inquiring. Ron Godfrey. Bitty, grey and rainy out there. Oh, Ron, bless. Ash Bannister, he's got a wet West Sussex. Hope that's not a euphemism. And then Madame Le Bonbon, Lulu O'Hagan, she's here. Or Bon Bonjour, as you quite rightly point out, that may be sticking. Warren Ryan Phillips, lovely to have you here. Toby Hiles, morning Toby. Paul's off creating his OnlyVans content. Now, he did mention this to an MP.
Oh, God.
on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday night. Was it Wednesday? Wednesday night. Yeah. Now, they don't need any help in getting themselves into very hot water in Westminster. So, yeah, only vans. Oh
Oh,
gosh.
dear.
Mark Main, happy Friday, my friend. Yeah, he'll have his Only Vans t-shirt on. You're quite right, Jamie. Craig Stark, hello, Rob Dustin. 11 out of 10. Because there's so much going on in EV. Rob, tell us what's going on, mate, what you're doing and why you are so bouncy. Mike Seymour, wow, it's absolutely hoying it down. I've never heard that word.
Hoying.
Sarah, Sam,
Very nice.
hoying.
I love it.
Anything? No? No, new one on us. Where's that from, Mike? Is that Midlandsy? Not really sure. Jordan Conway, good morning from very wet Leicester. That's a shame, and you lost 6 points as well. Things aren't going well at your end. Tom of the Middle Ditch. He's here from Europe Car. You do know you can rent vehicles from Europe Car, don't you?
Europe
And
Car
they're
now.
darn fine too. And then he's here. It's the pig chaser, Christian Borman. He's in the house. Great to have you here. Put your cross away though, dear boy. Now then, Darren Cunningham. Nothing beats a Jet lower CO2 holiday.
Very
I saw
clever,
what you
Darren.
did there. That is clever. Well done. Tony Clayton, hello. Ian Mayhew, love you. Mikko Toivonen, do you drive a rally car? That's a fabulous name. Love that. Tell me your finish. Please tell me your finish. From LinkedIn, good to see you. And so many people coming in from the YouTube. Leon Gomez, good to have you here. Wayne Dunn, he's in the house. Gordon Bennett, there's so many. He's not here, by the way, Gordon Bennett. But everybody else is. Martin Sweeney, hello, darling. Good to see you. Jim Blair, he's in the house. He's written a lot. We're all learning. We find that cars that were designed as ICE and converted to EV generally perform poorly. Yep, designing from the wheels up, then it's better. Nick Hoolin, Nicholas, where have you been, my dear chap? Took a ride on a battery-powered train on the 31st of January as one of the first public-paying passengers. Great fun, a real buzz. It's a world record-breaking thing, having over a 200-mile range. We like world records around here. Anybody in the house got any? Oh, is it just me that hasn't? Oh, right, okay. Let's see if we... Kylie Glover from Greenfleet, good to have you here. Peter Lever, he's in a fever. Just landed in Finland, so he's probably chilly, actually.
Oh.
Benmo Hyde, morning all, Somerset calling, very wet. Right, it looks like it's as soggy as an otter's pocket.
Not raining
Right.
in Wales, just like to point that out. It's a vicious rumour.
Right, 10:17. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Starting this week, petrol stations are now obligated to update their fuel prices within 30 minutes of any change. The government-backed Fuel Finder website can be utilised by individuals to ensure they're not being overcharged by local petrol stations. Go to www.fuel-finder.uk. The data will be made freely available on the Fuel Finder website and integrated into mapping software and price comparison apps, which is essentially levelling things up for petrol and diesel drivers, because EV drivers have had this sort of information available for yonks. The Competition and Markets Authorities indicated that with improved transparency and effective price comparison, motorists driving a typical family vehicle could save as much as £4.50 per tank within a 5-minute radius. Alternatively, convert to EV and save a great deal more. Now, what this does show, I think, Sam, is that EV is leading with market initiatives to give the driver and consumer the information that they need to make informed choices.
I think so, John. Yes, I think in some respects we've almost gone too far the other way over the years in a nascent market and giving almost too much information in too many different places. But it's hard to compare the two, I think, because there'd be so many different pricing points at charge points depending on what roaming party you have, or whether you're using contactless, or whether you have some sort of promotion, or whether it's through an app, or whether it's not. So there's quite a lot of different variances we need to consider. I do wonder, though, how much effort people are going to take to try and find that £4.50 per tank saving, and driving around emitting more pollution in the process, trying to save a couple of quid, whereas perhaps the most efficient way is just to crack on. I don't know. It depends how easy it is and how integrated it's really going to be into the dashboards of all the different vehicle types to make it a smooth transition, because frankly, it never is. It's not a one size fits all for this data set, is it?
No, hit us up in the comments. I'd be really interested to know if you shop around based on price for your EV charging or whether you just go to where it's convenient. Sarah, what are your thoughts?
Well, I found this news story and I really liked it, but I didn't think it was going to make the cut. So I'm completely delighted. This is essential for what I consider behavior change. So people who are currently driving diesel or petrol, every penny counts. Petrol stations, there's a petrol station near me that drops its price and then it just blocks the road because there isn't another petrol station for 8 or 9 miles. So everybody goes to that one. So they happily come to that station just because of a couple of pence off and refuel their whole tank as a result. So yes, they are incredibly price sensitive creatures. So if they get used to that shopping around, that data layer, that maybe it's worth, and you did say 5-minute radius, and I think the Competition Markets Authority are doing a very big favour to EV because that's the behaviours they'll have to get used to.
You are right. And as Daryl Sharp says, price. Then he spelt price wrong without an E, and I'm not saying that, but there you go. Okay, let's move on because price is the next item. Despite a slight dip in prices at the pumps, British motorists are still feeling the pinch, with the average petrol car now costing more than 16p for every mile driven. Now, why that is relevant to EV drivers is because of this 3p per litre drop in early February. What does that do to the TCO for EVs? Well, with the average UK petrol car achieving roughly 36 miles per gallon, the current cost of fuel alone stands at 16.54 pence per mile. So, the figures emerge as Chancellor Rachel Reeves has slapped on, as you know, this 3 pence per mile charge for electric vehicles. So, are petrol and diesel drivers better off, or does it cost less to drive an EV? Well, when the 3p levy is combined with the cost of home charging, running an electric car is expected to cost between 5 and 11 pence per mile. So if you are paying either 16.54 pence per mile for your petrol or diesel car, or 5 to 11 pence per mile for electric, which is cheaper? Sarah?
Again, I didn't expect this to make the cut. I actually stole this off Jordan Marsden. He put it on his channel, and I thought that's such an interesting headline. The fact that they're talking about pence per mile, again, is a great shift to a kind of EV equivalent. We can now better compare. Now, you have to remember that we haven't quite reached saturation point yet of people who can charge at home, but I'm super encouraged by spending time with people like Zaptec yesterday, hearing about how they're really trying to push any car park to have a lower powered charger. And my role in the industry is to try and reduce some of those behind the scenes costs so we can bring that pence down even more per kilowatt hour with any luck. It's a big old ask, but don't forget people who do not have home charging. Their prices are still 17, 18, 19, maybe even 20 pence per mile if they're using rapid chargers at a price of 89p.
Thoughts, Sam?
I like Ian Mayhew's comment, actually, because I was going to raise a similar thing about convenience. You know, that there are, you know, in Sarah's example of a petrol station in a rural area, you can understand the sensitivity, whereas it isn't the case everywhere. Otherwise, no one would ever fill up with petrol at a service station ever, because it's always so much more expensive. But it's a convenience thing as much as anything else. So yeah, I take these sort of things with a pinch of salt, because in reality, it really depends on what you're doing and how and what your actual personal experience is and how much public charging you're going to use as to what that pence per mile is going to be. Whereas in the petrol world, it's a bit more consistent, isn't it? Even if there is a slight change in the pence per litre, that the general pence per mile is going to be pretty much in the same narrow value. Whereas for EVs, it can be quite broad depending on how much public charging you're using. So it's hard to make a comparison, I guess, is my point. But convenience is worth an awful lot to a lot of people, and they're willing to pay more for it.
True. I want to pick up Toby Hyles's point here. He didn't expect 2 ICE stories when he tuned in today. And I understand that. I genuinely do. Because when I was putting the script together, I thought, 2 stories about petrol. And then I thought, okay, this is a competitive environment that we're all operating in. And the reality is that if we don't watch what the competition are doing, then we don't know how to respond and drive and to keep things ahead of the curve. So for me, I actually think this is quite important to raise this. And Sarah was saying, you know, she expected this not to make the cut. I think it's really, really vital that we watch what's going on with petrol, especially as they're now beginning to copy the behaviours that EV drivers have adopted for many years. Sarah, do you think so? Is that why you
Yeah,
put
I was
those
about
news
to say
stories forward?
you've said that beautifully, and that's exactly why I put those stories forward. And actually, the five of us met in London, and we talked about the whole breaking down the church walls thing, getting out of the echo chamber of EV, and start to maybe even appeal to petrol and diesel drivers who might see this on their YouTube shorts and go, "What? I didn't realise that was how affordable EV was," or "I hate EV. Why are they all going on about it?" We have to start talking to petrol and diesel drivers far, far more.
And this last story speaks to that. It's almost as though we have crafted the news this week, because and this is the reason why this matters. The European Union's facing a backlash from environmental groups after unveiling plans to water down its landmark 2035 ban on new petrol and diesel cars. According to the Clean Transport Group Transport and Environment, the new proposals could see electric vehicles accounting for as little as 50% of new car sales by 2035. Now, just hold the phones. Paul Kirby's joined us from Belgium. Did you find your chips, mate?
I found the chargers. That's
A
what I found.
Lego.
And there's my little motor. There we go.
Aw.
Wow.
And are you travelling on your own, or do you have the wonderful
no.
Mrs. Kirby with you?
The wonderful Mrs. Kirby is over there. Daughter and Aussie pal is over there. Yeah, so we're off to Amsterdam.
And may I ask what you're doing in Amsterdam? Is this just a holiday?
Well, taking young Aussie to see her parents, actually. So who are actually staying in Amsterdam, and she's studying. So
Do you
yeah.
know what?
All good.
That's the size of that man's heart. He's got a friend who's come over, and he just says,
I've
"Do you know
got a
what?
friend. I've got a friend.
Jump, jump in my car and I'll take you to Amsterdam." What a lovely man you are. And you've joined the news with 4 to go. Thanks, Paul. Really appreciate that. We're in the middle of quite a story. The
God.
European Union are rumoured to be speaking about as few as 50% of new car sales by 2035 being electric. Under heavy pressure from major car manufacturers, the European Commission has moved away from its original zero emissions mandate. Instead of requiring all new cars and vans to be electric by 2035, the Commission is now proposing a 90% reduction in CO2 emissions compared to 2021 levels. Sounds like a small change, but that will have a massive impact rather than this very easy to understand mandate that says, right, after 2035, no more new petrol or diesel. Suddenly we're into playing the numbers game. It's got to be a retrograde step, and that's why we're featuring so much fossil fuel news, because EU are saying, oh, it doesn't really matter. Don't worry about the 40,000 people in the UK that die every year from poor air quality. We'll just wind back on the targets. It's not right, is it?
No, it's
No.
not. The percentage reduction in CO2 is marketing spiel in order to give them an opportunity to advertise petrol and diesel vehicles in a different way, but still meet that criteria. So it's very clearly that's a change in metric from something that's very binary, you're zero emission or you're not, to something that's producing 90% reduction in CO2. It's a completely different metric, and so it's very evident that they're just trying to pull the wool over our eyes and find a way of navigating around the problem.
And all the time, the Chinese market is saying, oh, lovely, we'll continue to make EVs as the European manufacturers move further and further behind. This is a massive news story. But it had to follow the other stories about the changes in the marketplace. This one is a monster. Sarah, thoughts?
Oh, well, number one, we always knew those targets were going to change. That's just what happens every single time. At one point it was 2050, it's 2032, and then it was 2035, and now it's whatever this is. And shifting goalposts is expected. What I don't like about it, though, is it does give those the team hybrid the opportunity to say, well, my battery lasts me my whole commute on electric, and that's okay, maybe it does, but then they're still hung up on this fear of the long journey. I hear it every single day. And I was over in Europe last week, in Amsterdam, actually. Paul, give it a wave from me. I've got a huge piece of my heart in Amsterdam. And I was really, really stunned by the progress that they've made compared to the UK with their amount of charging hubs. And look at the one you're at now, Paul. It's absolutely stunning. They're not holding back. So I'm hoping that these targets are more of a sort of sweetener, because they have their own big problems that are very similar to ours: grid connection, cost of maintaining that connection. They're really looking at how they can get around problems just like we do. So I'm just going to ignore it.
Good. Excellent. That's what to do. When there's a problem, ignore it. Paul, final word to you.
Well, final word from me is that actually, I think technology is going to drive change. You mentioned China there. We're going to go out to China in the end of April, and we're going to go to the biggest auto show in the world that is annually held, which is the Auto China Show. And we will see the future right there. I'm hearing all of the time that China is light years ahead, and we will understand that. And we hear about the Xiaomi that's now competing against, Porsche and all that type of stuff. My vehicle here is doing a great job. We've got 300 kilowatt chargers here. My route is actually really simple to drive from Bedford to Amsterdam. I charged a little bit at the port, and then a little bit here, and I'll be in Amsterdam. It is not a big drama. And I think technology will make life easy, and it'll all be good.
Do you know what? That's a great way to end the show. Wonderful show. Now then, if you've got any clean transport PR or news stories you'd like us to cover, send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. Paul, Sarah, Sam, as always, thank you so much. Goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from them. This has been an EV Cafe production. Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just fun. Well done, Paul. Didn't think you'd do it. The EV Cafe is truly blessed to be partnered with the AA, Webfleet, Europe Car, Iveco, Avalo, Drax, Electric Vehicles, Utility Line, PLP, AW Energy, CPD Bodies, and True Charge.
Wowzers.
I know, mate. It's growing all the time. We're the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to clean transport. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, wherever it takes you. Until next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thing of beauty.